Since we last spoke, the Knicks went 3-1, beating Dallas, Detroit, and Atlanta, going 3-0 at home, then also dropping a game that they probably should have won against Washington. What is this team's real identity? We're going to talk about that and much, much more here on the MadGood Knicks show. Let's kick it off.
Anthony for three.
I think we see Willis coming out. Won the NBA championship.
Have the first pick in the 1985 NBA college draft.
Season ends the hands of the Chicago Bulls.
Reggie Miller is tied the game. The Spurs are your world champions.
New York Knicks select Kristaps Porzingis.
Welcome to the MadGood Knicks show. I'm Far. That's Jay. That's TK. We're here to give you all the Knicks news all the damn time. Check us out on Instagram at MadGood Knicks show. All right, guys. Since we last spoke, the Knicks went 3-1. Officially now in that 8th seed spot if we're talking playoff picture. A little too early for that. More importantly, they do go 3-0 at home. Drop that one game against Washington on the road. Guys, let's kick it off here at the round table. What are your thoughts on Brandon Jennings' recent comments criticizing the Knicks' play? I think this is a big topic of discussion. He tends to bring that attitude to his play all the time. T, let's start it off with you.
I love it, to be honest. He basically said what all Knicks fans were thinking. He brings that energy every night to the Garden, which is impressive. But before we get into that, let me just apologize really quickly to my man Kyle O'Quinn, okay?
Whoa.
He is someone who's been bringing the energy every single game as well. This guy has certainly improved from last season. So kudos to Kyle. And I'm sorry for leaving you out of my
Rotation last
rotation. Give you hard
There wasn't
energy.
a Kyle O'Quinn in there, was there?
There was no Kyle O'Quinn,
and there's
no
no
Lance
no
Thomas.
Lance Thomas. Okay, interesting.
not for
Let's
me.
get to that in a second.
I knew you were gonna pull that up. I knew you were gonna pull that up. Listen, though, you in my rotation now. I'm sorry. All right, I messed up. Okay.
Oh, and I'm sorry.
I've been complimenting your beard. You've been in my rotation. Bruh, come on, that should be a thing.
Who'd have
Show
thought?
some love,
Who'd have
show some
thought? 5 shows in, Kyle O'Quinn would actually hijack an entire question here as a topic of discussion on a positive note. But yes, Brandon, back to the topic here. Brandon Jennings. His comments included things like, we got to play at least 10 times harder, really questioning the Knicks' hustle through the whole entire effort throughout their tough start to the season. Jay, what's your thought?
I love the fact that he's the one calling the whole team out. It's one of those just like, say it with your chest. And this man's chest is like this right now, saying we need to be desperate. We have that bullseye on us. We're New York.
Now, I'm going to have to disagree with both of you guys here. I'm not a huge fan of his comments, and let me tell you why. Over the last couple games, he's had some hot streaks here and there.
Okay.
I feel like he really needs to concentrate more on what he's doing on the court, and sometimes when he's on the court, we see that he gets a little bit out of control. He lets his emotions get the best of him. Is it really appropriate for those comments to be coming from Brandon Jennings?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Go ahead. Why?
I agree.
Tell me why you're wrong.
I'll tell you why I'm right here.
Well, also, I know this is a Knicks show, but this is a Giants fan versus Jets fans here. So you can tell why we also like that.
Oh, how convenient.
How
convenient.
Sorry. We like that attitude. That
See, I
bravado.
would wear my Jets memorabilia here,
But they suck this season.
We're in front of
On to
the green
Brandon
screen,
Jennings.
so we got enough
On to
green,
Brandon
okay?
Jennings.
Brandon Jennings, I love it from him. His play, he needs to get a little bit more in sync with the offense, but he still brings the energy every single night.
But there's a
He's
difference
working
between
towards
bringing
games.
that energy and then being reckless with it. And I feel like that's what Brandon Jennings is starting to do from time to time.
Sometimes
I'll
it's
take it.
okay.
I'll
I'll
take
take it. Sometimes it's okay to be reckless. If no one else is bringing the energy, you got to set the tone and let everyone know, like, listen, we're going to bring this in. As soon as you guys formulate how you're going to run the offense and we get our bigs going, then I'll settle it down. But he's really trying to push the pace, and I love it.
Yeah, no, of course. And we also had, Shaden Larkin before, and Calderon. I will take anything that Jennings wants to do. I don't care
Putting
what it
things
is.
into perspective, well said. Over the last 4 games, Brandon Jennings averaged almost 7 points a game and 5.3 assists per game. And he's got some good chemistry going on with Kristaps Porzingis.
Yes.
All right, guys, moving on to the next question at hand. Where does Joakim Noah fit on this team? He didn't play against the Hawks, and quite frankly, he has not been that impressive through the regular season, averaging just over 4 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. Jay, let's start this one off with you.
I say keep starting this man. Let him continue to build chemistry, get acclimated with the team.
Even though it's kind of proven that he is starting to slow down the pace, and he really has not been there for the major success points for the Knicks in this run.
I don't know if he's 100% healthy. There has to be something there in his game for the fact that he still has reduced minutes.
Conditioning.
Could be. I mean, I don't get me wrong though. This man is cut as hell. He's in the best shape I've ever seen him
You
in.
know, when you put on a lot of weight, it's difficult for that to translate into your cardio. You
Yeah.
know that. So
As well.
it could be an issue there.
No, I want to talk about more. All right, when we signed Joakim Noah, we had
that's
him.
the issue here.
We
That's
had
the real
what?
question.
Well, we had him, and we were thinking of him as the real heart and soul of
Right.
that defense. T, what do you got to say?
That trumps it all for me, no pun intended. That contract doesn't look too pretty right now. To me, I would have him coming off the bench only because I like what I've seen, small ball lineup with KP at the 5. Hold on. And that's the lineup they go for in the 4th, with Noah on the bench. He's also a liability from free throw. He doesn't score much offensively.
If I can interject here really quickly
Please.
though, we do have still the payroll going up next year with the TV deals, things of that sort, the CBA. We do have renegotiations. So I don't think Noah's contract is going to be that terrible in maybe 2 years' time.
It just doesn't look pretty.
There's 2 points that I want to address here. One being that if Joakim Noah starts to become a 20-minute or less playing Nick, then he will look like what he has looked like this season so far and last season, him coming off the bench, which hasn't translated well. That's point number 1. Point number 2, regarding his contract, I really think that his contract is more of a upfront paying for what might be Derrick Rose's contract next year. So you're essentially paying for a guy like Joakim Noah to stay here in New York the next 3 seasons so that it'd be easier for you to just sign Derrick Rose. And everyone in the starting 5 is still under contract next year. This would really bring together a holistic full 5-man lineup, starting lineup for the Knicks for seasons to come.
Now that we're on Rose, just really, really quickly, this man looks healthy.
Yeah, he looks solid, man, for sure.
Dude, he looks
Absolutely.
healthy. How he's cutting to the basket,
Yeah.
that explosiveness looks like it's coming back.
Wait, he even had a dunk, his first dunk of the season the other
Shout out to Rose hopping up and getting those dunks.
Not trying to jinx anything, but goddamn, boy.
He looks good. He looks good. Our guards look good. That's definitely good to see. So final word here, Joakim Noah. He starts the rest of the way through. T, yes or no?
It's too early to tell. I'll go with John.
I want an answer. Give me an answer. I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. So I'll go with no.
No. So all right.
Let him come off the bench and get a little healthy.
So
Let
he
him
will
get
eventually
activated.
swing by to the bench.
Yeah.
Joe.
Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah.
You don't like my answer that
Get it
much?
together.
Come on, Ewing.
I say keep him in the lineup for now. Potentially after All-Star break, we take a look again.
I think he's going to be a starter for the next 2 seasons, this season included, and into next year, only because KP isn't ready.
Watch out
I
now.
don't think Billy will be ready.
Billy's on the come.
Everybody keeps
As well as Kyle Quinn hasn't playing, I don't think that
What?
he's
Oh,
gonna
Quinn's an
he's gonna
MVP
be
now.
the consistent center the Knicks are looking for.
It's a block party every time he's in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Next question here at the roundtable, guys. I want to talk about what the Knicks are probably close to last place in right now, and that is their defensive, more so their defensive effort than anything else. These guys we've seen have had spurts of playing good defense. What the hell is the issue? T?
I'm gonna go with chemistry. It's got to be chemistry for me because for the past couple of games, and to be honest, I don't want to say this too loud, but since Kurt Rambis has been appointed the defensive coach, we've looked semi-decent.
No, not Rambis.
We've looked semi-decent.
Not Rambis.
Go figure, right? Rambis. But I think it's the chemistry. The chemistry was lacking all along, and it's going to take time to
So
build
you
that.
think defense and chemistry are important?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting enough.
Jay?
We'll speak later.
I can't pinpoint exactly what the issue might be. I know that we're improving, we're finally looking better, but I don't know if it's literally more so just more study sessions, studying film, or just more practice together.
Or just
maybe
Kurt
just Kurt Rambis, but I don't know. It's interesting to see. I'm not entirely sure to pinpoint what exactly.
And that's interesting you bring that up because it's so hard. We don't know what Knicks team we're going to see from game after game after game. The offense is going to come. It's going to be there. We saw it in that 47-point fourth quarter that the Knicks had, by the way. But the defense, chemistry, and taking time to just learn everyone else's habits, that's going to take time.
They held the Hawks to 94 points, under 100. And the Hawks are what, like the 7th most efficient offensive team in the league?
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. They're 9-3. That was a good defensive
Solid team overall. And one more last point about defense that I want to make is the Knicks can play defense. They have the skills. They've got the right set pieces to play defense. But going back to what Brandon Jennings said in one of his quotes criticizing the Knicks, you need to play 10 times harder. You need to play with a sense of urgency in order to move forward with this team. And if the Knicks fail to do that on defense, they're not getting very far.
Speaking of defense, I really, really like what I see from Rose and Melo on the defensive end. They've really gotten tuned in on defensive end, and they're really focused on stopping their man off the dribble.
Melo doesn't get enough credit for his defense.
He
Rose,
doesn't.
I'm surprised by.
Right?
KP, we knew what he was giving on defense, and that rotation, the small man rotation with Holiday and Lee in there.
Oh, wait. Holiday, right? Since Lance Thomas has been out, I think Holiday has filled that void quite nicely. That 3-and-D guy?
Who said Holiday we had to put him in more and we had to include him more?
You just sip your tea, John.
Yeah,
You just sip
I
your
think
tea.
that's us
None of
here.
your business.
The Jets fans.
That's going to do it for the roundtable. We'll catch you guys next time. Let's take it on to the wild card, which you want to stick around for.
Wild
Because
card.
guess what? The Knicks' free throw percentage is actually lower, and the attempts taken is actually lower in all their wins. Don't know why. Stick
Go
around.
figure.
Can you introduce us?
You want me to introduce you?
Yeah.
Wild card! Wild card!
Oh shit, it's our cue. Welcome to another edition of Wild Card. I'm Pete,
I'm Steph.
and we're going to be talking about something the guys at the roundtable touched on before about how the team still doesn't really have an identity. They're not consistent. So what we wanted to do is we looked at all their stats from the games that they won, and we compared it to the games that they lose. So on paper, we want to see what exactly are they doing different when they're winning games. So
Right.
let's start with some of the interesting things we found with the obvious stuff first.
When we start with the obvious things like points, they average 8 more points when they win versus when they lose, which is kind of obvious, but it's still a neat stat considering how much of a difference that is.
Yeah, that one we expected. It's a pretty large gap considering like when you compare it to the rest of the NBA. But that one wasn't as interesting as the next one that we looked into.
Right. When we look at the field goals made, field goals attempted, and the field goal percentage, their field goals made increased by 3.5. Their field goals attempted decreased by 4, and their field goal percentage increased by 5.5. Now that is a win-win situation when you think that the team actually takes less shots but makes more. That's a perfect solution, and because of that, as a result, their efficiency increases by 5.5.
I mean, it might be a little counterintuitive to think that when they're winning games, they're taking fewer shots. But if you're taking higher quality shots
Right.
and you're making them, then chances are you actually have fewer possessions. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
at the end of the day, it's just a more efficient offense. If you're making more of your shots, chances are you're getting better, higher quality shots, and you only really get that with better floor spacing. And there's gonna be other stats that sort of like reinforce that.
Right. Well, one stat that actually blew my mind was the free throw percentage and the free throw attempts per game. I mean, the Knicks are averaging 5 less free throws when they're winning, and it's down by 8.5%. So that's almost 10% that they're worse at the free throw line. And
for the team to
how's that
average
possible?
almost 10% less when they're losing, that we didn't quite get that because usually you think free throw line success equals game success. But you had a pretty fucking interesting theory about that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is fatigue, man. I mean, if like as a shooter, the most important thing is your legs. And if these guys are getting fatigued, if they're moving around, playing defense, getting these rebounds, doing what they have to do to win the game, maybe they just don't have the strength and conditioning for it.
All right, moving on to the next stat that was kind of a critical one, rebounding.
Right.
Pretty interesting there. If you think about offensive rebounding, that essentially stayed the same. It sort of makes sense because if you're making more of your shots, there's less shots that you're missing that you can rebound offensively. But the defensive rebounding when they're winning games is a huge difference. What were we looking at there?
I mean, the offensive stayed the same, like you said, but the defensive increased by 7. And that's a kind of a shock to me because when you think that, like we said before, they are shooting less and making more shots, making less of an opportunity for a rebound. On top of that, they're still having 8 more rebounds when they win than when they lose.
Well, defensive rebounding is really about positioning and spacing on the floor. So that means that you got to have the energy and the mental acuity to sort of get in a position to box out, to, you know, those 50-50 plays.
Right.
Because to me, rebounding is really sort of the transitional phase between defense and offense and how you bookend it. And so many times we've seen the Knicks play good defense like 99% of the way there, and then they sort of like tap out at the end. So when they put in that extra, and I don't know if it's effort so much as it is focus. So the next stat, which we touched on earlier, was assists, right?
Assists, yeah, that increases by 5. I mean, that all relates when you tie it in together to ball movement. You're getting like more rebounds, you're getting more field goal attempts, you're getting more open shots. That means you're taking less, but you're making open shots due to the assists.
Yeah, it reinforces this two-pronged thing that, like, when they're winning, the defensive stats is what you see improving. They're moving better on defense. And when they're losing offensively, they're not moving the ball as well. They're not. I mean, it's sort of these obvious things, but it's really good to see them reinforced with the stats. Yeah. The last few, which were kind of interesting, the hodgepodge looking at blocks. Now that's down a bit.
That's down, yeah.
Which you wouldn't expect for a team when they win. But my contention is when you're playing better defense, that means you're protecting the lane and you're not bailing guys out, or you're not giving them opportunities to come into the lane. So you're kind of giving yourself fewer opportunities to make blocks, but overall, when you protect the lane, that gives you more positive.
It could also be, like I said before, fatigue. I mean, if this guy's actually playing defense and they're playing their offense, doing motion offense, maybe they don't have the energy to jump up and block a shot.
Interesting takeaway there. Turnovers down 4. That's what we would expect. That again, that ties in with the better ball movement. When you're spacing better, there's fewer guys picking off passes. You're getting more open shots. Again, fewer opportunities to fuck up, basically. And then fewer fouls too.
Which is what we've been talking about episode in and episode out. Personal fouls we wanted to decrease, especially for KP. And we realized that with this 6 and 7 record, it's split down the middle. When we look at the wins and losses, they average 3 less fouls.
A lot of times when you're lazy on D, you tend to bail guys out or last-second reach-ins and stuff and commit fouls. But when you got good defensive spacing, you block guys out, you get into less foul trouble and just overall. So, again, the stats speak to this sort of like defense and offense kind of thing. They're not when they're losing, they're just not playing defense, and that's effectively it. I mean, that's been another edition of Wild Card. We'll leave you off with the memes of the week.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. One goddamn minute. Wait.